Yes, yes. We're back for a live edition. Chris sees the internet. We got a lot of updates for you guys. Man, this is going to be a good one. Or, it's going to be one. Welcome to you guys, though, if this is your first time tuning in. Largely, a reason you would be tuning into this would probably because you know about the Invisible Panchos, or an artist we interviewed or something led you to us. So maybe you have some background on what we do. We don't rehash the whole story every episode, but this is something we do here on our channel. Me in particular, infinitely curious person, and I do deep dives on the internet, different topics that we're into, things that affect the Pancho verse. And it's kind of like, yeah, if you know, you know. But feel free to ask, though, too. You know, our community's a dope one. We really got to connect with our community this weekend. These past 2 weekends, actually. We got to take part in some really cool festivals. And for the most part, they were excellent experiences. Two different things. One was the Viva la Raza Fest in San Diego, California. And that had its own feel. Obviously, by name, you could assume it was primarily based towards like the Latino audience, but open to everybody. It was a community event. And it was very multicultural, in fact. There was a lot of different cultures there, but it was celebrating La Raza. So, do the math. And it was an amazing, positive event, really cool, coming together of a large spectrum of artists and people connected to the culture. And that's always interesting to me because a lot of the times it puts people in a room that would not normally be in a room together, and I'm always about that. I think that's dope when people have an opportunity to connect and bring down walls and get rid of assumptions and all that good stuff. But it was not, without its hiccups. Everything was done primarily as an independent community-run thing anytime we do those kind of events. And by the way, you're going to see a lot of this stuff in the vlog. We're going to be releasing a vlog later this week. I'm editing it. We film our own vlogs. And we're going to take you like behind the scenes to all of this stuff that we're talking about today, especially the festival behind the scenes things, with Viva la Raza Fest and the Happiness of Pursuit Festival. But yeah, Viva la Raza Fest, amazing black books and rhyme books. If you don't know about them, you should check them out. They're this really cool, I'd say it's like a movement kind of, it's a vibe, but primarily they're like these series of events that celebrate hip hop and black books and sticker culture and slaps culture and graffiti culture, breakdancing, all the elements of hip hop and adjacent. And they had their first like official debut here in San Diego at Viva la Raza Fest, and it was really cool. And that was just one part. They acted as like the second stage inside this bar area, which again you'll see in the vlog. I don't want to give away any of the behind the scenes stuff, but it was cool. But back to yeah, so it brings together like, you know, a lot of different people. So if you're, you know, if you're familiar with like Chicano culture or like the Latino culture, especially here in Southern California or on the West Coast in general, you know, it's a large spectrum, especially like in music or in the arts, right? Because the people are a large spectrum, and that's just honest, you know. It just kind of is what it is, and that's always, as a promoter, I always feel for promoters, because I think a lot of times a promoter will go into an event thinking about just throwing a cool event, bring together the community and stuff like that. But when it comes to the art part of it, or the artist's role in all of it, which a lot of the times it is inspiration, right? Before and after, and then during. But it's entertainment, it's festivity, it's a lot of times design and art. So the way the event looks, the artists play a big role in that. And a lot of the times I think that I've been thinking a lot about this. I think that we as artists, you know, need to be way more clear on like what our expectations are, and not expect that everybody knows what those things are. I think that's very important. And I think with like any event, the less communication, the less smooth the event goes, right? So overall, the event was cool, but we definitely could have communicated some things better. I think presentation is a big deal, right? Because there's one thing about like just throwing people up on a stage and then presenting that, and they're not really being an explanation of what it all is. And that goes into marketing. And these are all things like we learn as like independent artists and independent promoters. These are things that I'm watching and I'm learning from. I'm like, okay, yeah, you know, there needs to be a story around every event you throw if you want that event to be a successful event, because people need to understand why they should think that it's important, other than the obvious, right? Because a lot of times the obvious is like, let's help people, right? And so for most people, and I know there's a lot of cynical people out there that are like, well, not everybody or hardly anybody, but look, my experience has been for most people would like to help people. And when given the opportunity, they do. But beyond that, there has to be a better attachment to, you know, like what the overall mission is. You know, I think everybody wants to help, but what is the story behind the thing that you're doing to help? And how is everyone connected to that? Or are they just present? These are all just questions I'm kind of asking, you know, actually, you know, in real time to myself right now. You know, I think as promoters and as artists, I think we have a responsibility, one, to our audience, right? Because we're opening our doors to our audience. So part of that responsibility is making sure that they're understanding what's being presented. I think that's very important. And I think a lot of the times that can be overlooked, especially when taking on a large event. We're part, the Invisible Panchos, like through our manager, OG HipHop Eddie, who's the main stage manager at the Happiness is Pursuit Festival, manages a few other festivals in the state, and some tours. But through that, we've been able to, like, you know, get a firsthand look at, you know, behind the scenes in festivals and different sizes of events and what it really takes. But communication, for sure. That is the thing that matters the most. But overall, the event was amazing. I thought I really thought that like all the artists, man, it was just such a really dope. Shout out to Black Books and Rhyme Books. Shout out to Beardo, by the way. And shout out to our team at Platform Collection. All the artists that touched the stage were so dope. Like not only as just performers, but as people. A lot of the compliments we got after were like, yo, you helped us discover like our new favorite artist, or like, oh man, I had to follow everybody I saw, or because a lot of people don't really know what's happening in like the music scene and in art in general. That's another thing, right? Like promoters could probably do a better job at understanding that part of it. Like, yo, things are not the same. This is not the early 2000s. Things have changed significantly, and a lot of this is a splintering of different sounds, and from hip hop, a splintering of different sounds and different niche things, and but specifically the part that we're a part of is kind of a thing to itself. It's the underground. And I think people throw that around a lot. But the people who know like what that really is like there's a level of artists that can make a living off their art while staying off like the giant, like the popular radar, right? Like the general popular radar, right? Like these artists aren't being brought up in the same breath as like Taylor Swift or Drake or Kendrick Lamar. They're not being really talked about like that. But well, say like an artist like Kendrick, who is like a more heady artist, a more intellectual artist. Occasionally he has named some of the artists that are in the underground because he pays attention to culture and art, and he knows that popular art isn't the top of the mountain. That in art, it's kind of generally known, right? Like most art that needs more time to digest and sit with increases in value over time. People understand it. It keeps giving back because it keeps unfolding, as opposed to something that's like maybe like a pop hit that is good for a time and then goes. People kind of know there is a difference. You know what I mean? And so in the underground, there's a lot of artists who are really deep, in what they present. It's not very cookie cut. You hear a lot of different styles versus what you would hear like on the radio, where you would hear a very programmed palette of music, which is, kind of whatever is being pushed the most at the labels that can afford to push it the most. That's what you end up hearing on the radio eventually. So that being said, like in the underground, there's more space and more room because you don't have this corporate, control. There's more space and room for you to really paint and really create in and it doesn't have to be like linear. It doesn't have to just run in a straight line towards a very obvious end. Like we're making people dance, and dance is the point, right? You could go like, for instance, there's an artist in let me give you a good example of an artist in the underground that is very layered. Man, they all are really. I'm trying to just. Okay, well, one, and we'll talk about him, probably a little bit today because we're doing an event with him soon. Like 2Mex is kind of one of like the OGs in that space of making very emotionally driven, raw, layered music. Not necessarily like hidden messages, but Easter eggs of thought, like where you go back and listen. Oh, he was actually saying this, or when he said this one thing, that seemed very simple, it actually plays a part in like his whole life, or there's a theme, or it's just very thought out. And and this is the key: the fan base that follows that type of music is aware of these things. They know these things. That's very, very different than like someone who might just add a song to a playlist, and that's how they are a fan to that artist, because they put it on their playlist. But here's the rub: because the headier music might not get played on a playlist. In fact, it might. I have friends, I know plenty of artists who've written albums that are designed to be played as a whole, right? So where's that space on like the streaming world and like where streaming is at right now? There really isn't the space, you know. And again, we're not talking about like maybe you because you're into it. We're saying like the majority, because ultimately what I'm talking about is like the well-being of these artists and their ability to be able to feed themselves and take care of themselves with the art that we all use every day. Like we use it, like we use artists to promote events, or we put artists to make things seem more exciting at events, or any of those kind of things, right? That is a real thing. That is, and trust me, as most artists, most professional artists, we understand like that's part of the job. You are there to entertain to some people. That's all you are. But when we are in control of the things we want, and you're getting the best thing, like for us, like for the Invisible Panchos, when you're getting the best thing that we have to offer, we're in control of it all. Because we want to protect it all the way until it gets to your hands, and then boom, it's not touched by anything else, right? No outside influences, sponsors, promoters, whatever, what have you. Even for us, it's even like sound guys. Like we try to do our sound from the stage, us. Like that's ultimately what we want you to get in our performances and our art is it's from us to you, to us, the people that matter. But yeah, in the music business right now, like it is kind of the Wild West, but it is making a space for the independent artist, and promoters need to, I think, look at, you know, that part of the game as well. What worth is, how people are setting their budgets. It's all over the place. And part of that problem, because I hear a lot of complaints from promoters about like people charge too much, or they were free last year and now they're popular and they're not free anymore, or as if that's like a bad thing, right? Which the mere pointing out of that alone says that you weren't like rooting for them, you know, because you should have been awaiting that to happen. Like, damn, we got them free right now. I know we're not going to get them free tomorrow. Dude, I've literally heard 60 say that. Like, he could get like, he's like almost kind of discovers an artist or puts an artist on Thought Fest for the first time, and he'll say like, man, that we'll have to pay for him next time, because he just knows like, oh, he's going to get better and that's what he's going to deserve. He's going to deserve to get paid. Where a lot of promoters don't do that. They're like, you did it free last year. and you don't, and maybe you don't mean it that way as a promoter, but what you should be thinking is, I'm letting you know, here's some free game. Consider at the very least that it takes some time and effort to get better at the art. And if you booked it last year and you want to book it this year because it's still good to you, there's some work in that. There's actual like work in there. It isn't like you just get up and there it is. So hopefully like people can come together, because I think what, from the talks I hear from the artists that we're around, and we could talk to a lot of them these past 2 weekends, right? We're in a very unique position to talk to. I mean, 2 back-to-back festivals and all levels, right? From Coast Contra, you know, to the Dark Room, who we took on tour for their first tour. They were on main stage this year at the Happiness of Pursuit Festival. Shout out to my boys. But yeah, dude, like we've talked to a lot of artists, and a lot of them agree on like, man, maybe it is kind of time. I think maybe seeing people like 60, right? 60 is an artist, so he knows what artists are expecting. He knows what they might be up against. So even though he has to play promoter role and he has to put his promoter hat on, because if not, the event doesn't even get off the ground. Even though he has to do that, he also understands where the artists are coming from. And it's not like he gives away the house either. That's not what you do. That's not how you solve that problem. You don't just bow to the artist. Most professional artists just want the consideration of the reality of what it takes to do what they have to do. And if that's, if that's too hard for promoters to do, then I think, and again, I think like one of the things that we've been noticing is that amongst our like friends, artist friends, again, at different levels, is that people are like, maybe we should just cut people who are not artists out of that part altogether. The promoter part, all that, because I get it. There was a time when I think artists needed promoters. They needed everything, really. Just to be honest with you, they needed everything. That isn't quite the same anymore, man. That's not. Trust me, we work in a lot. From the technical parts of this job to, the literally bleeding on stage. Things are changing. The way artists see themselves and their own worth is changing, and that's a good thing. It's going to be rocky at the beginning because people need to figure out what it is exactly, right? But it's worth it. The change is worth it. But what I'm saying is one of the possibilities of that is that maybe artists just take over everything that they control, or everything they do. They control everything they do. How about that? They control everything they do, from the way it's sold to the way they're presented, all the way around. And I think there's the tools to do that. I mean, I'm doing that technically right now. If you follow us, you follow our music, you know anything about us. Well, I'm not, there's no buffer between me and you. I can talk directly to you. So I'm not going to like squander that. I'm taking full opportunity for you to hopefully see exactly what's in my mind, or come as close to it as possible, what I have to give to the world. And putting something in between that sometimes, adds another opinion, and now it's something else. And that's like a collaboration. I'm not against collaborations. I love them. But we're talking about like our art, the art we normally get booked for. But yeah, man, that was a lot. It is what it is. It's alive. We're live. You do this live. That's what you talk about. But man, I had a blast though. And man, the culture is dope. Shout out to all my Chicanos, my Latinos. Man, the culture is a beautiful thing right now. So beautiful. Because I do feel like people are starting to ask like more important questions about what we really are and what we want moving forward. What is it that we want? Things change. It is the only constant in existence. It's change. So it's healthy for our people to become okay with that and not fear that. And we got to understand that the trauma and fear of change was beaten into us by them taking away what we had at the moment. Think about that. So it made us scared to ever lose anything again. So let's hold on to everything forever. Dude, I'm Mexican American. I'm a Chicano. My mom saves everything. I know and we can laugh at it, and it is like this, oh, it's something that makes us different, but you understand that that's from trauma. That's full-blown trauma. You don't want to lose anything because you've lost so much. I think it's the season to like break that thinking, specifically for, my Latino Chicano people and anybody that loves those people. Hell, allies are allies, man. We are a stubborn people. We hide things a lot too. It's part of a culture, but I have faith in the youth. I hear the youth wanting to break those things, break those stigmas, break those cycles. I say we cheer them on and then help them figure it out when they ask. Otherwise, they're going to figure it out. They got it. We figured out what we had to figure out, and we're still here, right? We're still here. Good and bad. Still dealing with issues. But we made it, and there's a generation coming after us. So at the very least, we've done part of our job. So I think the next generation, hopefully, they let it all out. Yeah. All right, man. Well, and then that brings us to the Happiness of Pursuit Festival. Man, there's no really, I can't say that there's like a real easy way to like talk about the Happiness of Pursuit Festival. Otherwise, like, look, the event itself was just beautiful, man. It was a beautiful event. Amazing event. It was a very long time since I'd seen like that many creative people and fans of music and art and just supporters of community like come together again. Another year of just very little issues all around, right? During the event, like nothing really. Occasionally someone will get drunk or something, like, but nothing like really crazy. And it's really cool because it does speak to like everybody there kind of looks out for each other, and everybody kind of knows someone who knows somebody who knows somebody who knows you, right? It's like one of those things. So, and it's cool, and you get to see and really discover. Shout out to 60 East for putting together a really cool bill. The Panchos, we played on the we've played Thought Fest before, but this year we got to play the kickoff party, which is the night before Thought Fest. It's like the tailgate party for Thought Fest, which is really, really cool. It was run by Nerds in HipHop. I wasn't really familiar with them, but their whole movement is super dope. Shout out to all of them. They did a really good job of just making people feel really welcomed, and it was really eclectic. We got to go on right before Mega ran. So it was really cool. We got to warm up the crowd, and it went great. It went really cool. You'll see it again in the vlog. Everything I'm talking about on this episode, just kind of updating you guys, because we missed last week getting ready for the festivals, and I didn't want to leave you guys hanging. Make sure you subscribe, like. We are getting videos every week though. And but you'll see in the vlog, Megaran killed it, Cam Archer, the West Coast Avengers, tons of acts. You'll see them, most all of them, hopefully, in the vlog. We're trying to tag everybody that that you may not have seen in the vlog before. Like, I'm not sure if I'm always tagging Rick Scales. Rick Scales is in the vlog all the time. He's family. OG Hip Hop Eddie obviously never gets tagged. You better know who he is. But yeah, I'm trying to tag everybody, and if I ever miss people, let me know. We can always do a little pop up on YouTube. Hmm. Um, but yeah, it was a really great event. They had like a skateboard demo, cool, with like a little half pipe, a little full pipe actually. It was like one of those little mid-level backyard full pipes. Um, but I think one of the things that I can say walking away from this year's was like I was really like there was moments during the event where I was like really like grateful to be part of such like an amazing community. And it's crazy because I think artists a lot of times we get lost in like the path to making something that you feel great about, right? And that, man, it sounds so simple. It sounds so simple, but I promise you, most of the time it is not. Most of the time you wrestle with it, even once it's already presented to the world. I'm constantly, if I make a song, by the time I've performed that song 100 times, it's almost a different thing because I'm constantly tweaking it and I should say it this way or do this thing. That never ends. That never ends. If you hear our early songs and then you hear us perform them, they'll probably sound like two different songs sometimes. But that's just an artist thing, you know, which got me very curious about like that whole thing of like how artists deal with like the pursuit, right? Because we throw an event called the happiness of pursuit, but that's only one emotion of the pursuit, unfortunately. It's the part we're celebrating, like, man, when you really like feel great about the pursuit, but sometimes you don't feel great about the pursuit, and that's just a reality. That being said, you know, if you follow our community, look, man, it's just hard to even like really figure out how to say it. So I'll just say it. One of the artists, amazing artists named Vision, that's how I knew him, as Vision. Passed away seemingly right after the festival, seemingly right after he lost a battle. It was a freestyle battle. He made it all the way to the end, to the final, and then lost in the final. He would have taken home some money, which he had stated that he needed. To me specifically, I talked to him. We kind of joked about it a little bit, but he was really serious. He seemed like he really needed one. He was locked in, and man, he put on an amazing performance. Amazing performance. And again, Eddie was managing the main stage, so we saw him that day. We get to talk to him. He's an artist that I met frequently, going up to like the IE shows in LA. That's where I met him because we're from San Diego. So we'd go up there and we'd see him, and he was just like, and it's, you know, funny enough, he would always, he would end up in battles or ciphers a lot with our homie Rick Scales, who again is just a freestyle genius, and they'd freestyle together a lot. I think there was a lot of mutual respect between them, and that's kind of how I met him. And then throughout the years, he would always give us love. You know what I mean? And the Panchos, when we first started out, like we are openly trying to make different things, like different sounding music, trying not to be so traditional. A lot of the times you can get like negativity at the beginning when you're trying to be like that. And Vision from the jump was always like, he was he just knew we loved hip hop like he loved hip hop. And we'd smoke together after, in little ciphers. But yeah, he was found dead in his vehicle. And that's all I'm really going to say about all of it. But obviously there's a lot of condolences out there. I can read you the official. Here's what ThoughtFest put out. Let me see if I can make this bigger for people who are watching online. Before we recap the festival, we wanted to take a moment to recognize a member of our ThoughtFest fam and local music community who passed away this weekend. He has been a part of the festival since its first years and has been a staple in our scene for well over a decade. He also participated in the freestyle battle at this year's festival. We will be giving him a star on the wall to honor his incredible achievements and contributions to our community. We were blessed to see him rock our stage one last time and share one final ThoughtFest with him. Thank you, Vision. Yeah, man. It's just such a shame, man, I definitely shed some tears for it. Yep. Definitely shed some tears for it. Definitely shared that sentiment with a lot of people. I think there's something about this that touches a lot of people. We lost a lot of people this year. We continue to lose a lot of people. We've lost a lot of people last year. God bless the families of like Rec One, Chino XL. A lot. It's not even. There's so many, and so many that struggle with mental health issues. So many that struggle with, I call it like that battle of the mind, and I think now, hopefully, the stigma around it is getting less. But I do feel that people are starting to understand now, like for a lot of creative people, the creativity that comes out of them is the only way that they actually can communicate to the fullest and be themselves and to the world. And without that, a lot of the times, or without the ability to do that freely, I think that some people, I just think that people don't consider that a lot of times, what artists go through. And obviously Vision was going through, his own stuff. And it's so interesting, man. I shared it with a couple people. I watched him leave the festival. And now that might not seem like that big of a deal, but dude, this the Happiness of Pursuit Festival, when most of these people, especially someone like Vision, when we're all there, when you go to the Happiness, you don't leave till the end because you just don't really want to miss anything, and everybody's there and everything you love is there. People look forward to it. People come in from other states to go to it. Because if you love this particular brand of hip hop, and the best way I could explain it is just this love of originality and authenticity and independence. Those three things. If you like those three things, then you'd love the Happiness of Pursuit Festival. But the people who go, that's the energy they bring. So you like, if you see artists get there like at noon, you'll see them at midnight. They'll still be there. And from stage, I was taking some video up on the main stage, and I could see Vision just kind of walk out with his head down, and he just left. I could see him leave. I could see all the way him walk out to the street, and And it's just such, that's going to sit with me. And I know that's not like, it's like a special thing or anything. I know tons of people saw him for the last time. I think about the people who were in the battle with him. I think about the judges. I think about 60. My heart goes out to everybody, because it could very easily be seen as like, oh man, like such a negative event around this positive thing. But that's not how I see it. Like, I don't see it like that. As someone who has in the past struggled with my own demons when it comes to mental health and, you know, mental health. I think that the one of the biggest struggles with mental health is that a lot of us compartmentalize very well, very able to see the good things in my life and go, oh, these things are really good. This math all checks out. I am loved. There's people around me. I'm doing good at what I do. I have time to make the thing that I want to make. I'm doing it. And simultaneously have another compartment that says everything sucks. And you suck because look at all those blessings and you still can't feel good. That I think people from the outside might not ever see that part really. They think it's just kind of one gray area, but it isn't. Most people who deal with mental health issues know they have mental health issues. That is the crux of the whole thing. They don't want to have that. They don't want to feel that. It's why they consistently do things to try to make themselves feel normal or safe or, you know, or not normal, out of the box. And I think one of the things that happens for sure, especially in the hip hop community, the pursuit of making something great, and especially the extra bad habit of watching the people next to you create the thing that they're doing and then trying to use that as a mirror for yourself. That extra bad habit, it can lead to us not doing something that's very normal to most people, and that's just letting other people know how you feel as much as possible, and how to do that in a way that is socially appropriate, right? There's nothing more awkward. I've talked about this. Me and my friends have joked about this. There's nothing more awkward than a circle of rappers and producers outside of and DJs outside of a club or a bar after a show, standing in a circle, all complimenting each other because everybody's being, you know, it's not like they don't all like each other. That's not what I'm saying. It's just, it's such a weird thing because it's almost like expected. Like someone comes out, you're supposed to make sure you watch them perform. And even though you've seen them perform 10,000 times, but it's these pressures that we put on each other and all these expectations. When you fall into that, it's very, very easy to start to forget how to just socialize normally, how to like exchange information with people, let people know when you need help, let people know when things aren't going good. And I know that for a fact. I've had an amazing opportunity and really an amazing life when it comes to hip hop. For me, I appreciate it so much. And again, I am also one of those people who can wake up tomorrow and be like, everything sucks. It is that thing. That is the mental health part. That is the part that when people are like, I feel crazy, that is that part. Because you're like, why does it exist? But it does. And everybody's at a different place when dealing with that. You know, early this year, we you know, not even really earlier, like just really a few weeks back, right? Chino XL, it's revealed that he took his own life. And so many rumors on the streets of what happened and all these stories, but nonetheless, if he just took his own life, I guarantee you, there's probably a bunch of you that are watching this right now. I guarantee you that most of you think that his life was probably better than yours. And again, it's what can you say about that? One, I think it highlights the fact that the things that are important to everybody are not the same, not all the same. Maybe fundamentally, again, like I don't want to be hurt. I don't want to hurt anybody else. Want to eat. But our motivations are carved out of the life we live. So you might look at someone and go like, man, they're killing it right now. And inside they're dying. Chino XL rocked the Thought Fest stage. We got to see him rock, got to talk to him. One of his last performances as well. It just doesn't seem like hip hop is taking care of ourselves enough. And that makes me sad for sure. That makes me sad. I have a lot of friends who I know just that event with Chino, you know, now with Vision, and everyone in between, and unfortunately the ones that will come, because it doesn't seem like we've figured this out. I am biased. I'm not biased as an artist, though. Again, I'm very good at compartmentalizing. I am biased because I have talked to thousands of artists at this point. There's interviews and sit downs and studio sessions, and they all of them, I'll say this, there is a correlation with the better they are, the more they have that gene of self-doubt or fear of success, or the thing that makes them doubt themselves. It just seems like it goes hand in hand. So next time you're watching an artist just go off, just kill it, you got to wonder like what's really under all that. What is it taking to get that out to the world? Because when I talk to that artist after he comes off stage, he's all shy, or he kind of wants to be by himself, or oh, he doesn't talk to anybody, he might be stuck up, or if you're a fan or a supporter and artists have given you anything, maybe that is a part you owe them. Just that one extra thought of like, damn, they might be going through some shit. Or it might take a lot for that person to go on stage and shine as bright as they can, or make us cry, or make us cheer. Because when I talk to them off stage, they're nothing like that. So imagine what goes into that just to get them to that. That's why they look so spent after. That's why they're dripping in sweat. If you love the arts, I ask you just to add that one little extra thought, like, oh, it could be hard for them to do this thing that they're doing, that I'm going to take and just play in my car or hang on my wall or use as a soundtrack or a backdrop to my life, and then not think of it again until a cool memory pops up. Maybe long after that artist isn't even here anymore. Maybe after that thing that person created ultimately led to the demise of that person that you play and celebrate And I'm not saying for you to not do that, because I'm sure that's what the artist wanted, but just that little piece of heart you could add next time you like support an artist or you think about an artist. That maybe it's just like, damn, it's kind of hard to do the thing they do. Yeah. Check this out.
Is it okay?
Yeah, it originates in people's families, and it's when you announce to your father or your mother that you're going to be a writer, or you're going to be a circus clown, or you're going to be a dancer, or you're going to be an actress, and that is where it starts, because the normal response is, well, what are you going to do for a living? And that haunts you. There's another book, one of my books, when I talk about learning as you go into the creative life, learning who your true friends are and learning who your friendly associates are, because you lose most of your friendly associates when you make a decision to go from a rational life to a creative life. I once had a class, I gave a regular class at UCLA that was called Keeping Your Spirits Up for Creative People. And one time there were a bunch of actresses in the class, and I said, at the beginning of the class, I said, let's go around the circle and everyone introduce themselves and tell me your name and where you're from.
Dude's an expert in the acting film.
And what is the worst question that you could be asked at a bar or a cocktail party in LA, and how do you respond to it? And one lady said, she was from Arkansas, and her name was Joe, and the worst question that she had in LA was, when are you going to go back to Arkansas and work in the post office again? Right. And I said, how do you answer that? That's terrible. And she goes, usually by bursting into tears and leaving the room. And I said, well, hopefully this class will find some help for that. The next woman said her name was Jenny, and she was from California. And she said, and the worst question I have is, what have you been in big lately that I've seen? And I said, yeah, that terrible question too. She goes, and said,
yeah, and like in hip hop, I just heard someone just told me this story this weekend. This young artist, they had just gone in on the Thought Fest. I'm not going to put them on blast, but they had just gone on the Thought Fest, and I just overheard him say, like, man, I couldn't even get anybody to come out. I couldn't even get any of my friends or family to come out and watch this. And man, I felt him. I'll tell you this. In the Mexican community, I'm pretty sure most of like my fellow MCs who are of my culture I can verify that one of the biggest things they get asked is, well, is it making money? Because a lot of times we come from immigrant families who making money was everything, because that was about survival. And through the hard work that they did, we're now able to consider more than surviving. We consider living. And when you consider living, money becomes redefined for you. And so it's a question that man, if you have artists in your family, man, don't ask them that shit. Yo, you making money yet? Are you making art yet? Like, come on, man. That's, again, it's adding that extra little piece. Or otherwise, look, what are we talking about? Kill the artists? Because y'all are doing that. We're all doing that to the artists, right? By never ever like filling in that problem, that hole in all of this. Like, yo, we use art to like push our world forward, to inspire us. Everything is art. Art is all around us. But when it comes to the artist, we're trying to get them for the cheapest. We're trying to get them to do the most for the least compensation. We're not considering what goes into it. We're not doing any of these very normal things that you would do for someone working on your car. You don't even ask any of these questions, matter of fact. And not that they're not artists. There's definitely mechanic artists, but for the most part, you're not going into Pet Boys or whatever and going like, yo, I need to see all the background on all these people. Why? What school did you go to? Where did you learn how to do the thing? I could probably do that. Like all those kind of things. It's the same in the entertainment business. And a lot of times the people who make you feel the worst about the pursuit, the happiness of pursuit. That's why it's a spectrum. Again, happy is one feeling of it, but there's a misery of that pursuit as well, and a lot of times that's presented to you by the people you love the most.
What is your answer? And she goes, the Pacific Ocean. And I always love that because it showed that here's a creative person who has figured out how to protect her mind from the inevitable things that are going to happen in the big world. People are not born with sensitivity. They don't walk out of their homes on the way to a party going, I'm going to be particularly sensitive today. And the first thing they say to an actress they meet is, what have you been in bigs that I've seen? It's not because they're mean or that they're nasty people, but maybe they are. But it's probably because they aren't being sensitive.
And that's a thing that I definitely want to talk to about. I want to talk about to my artist friends, right? The people, because we're talking to the fans and we talk about people who support artists and people who love artists and people who befriend artists and even other artists, how we treat artists. But what about the responsibility of the artist, right? Well, one of those things I think, which I don't think is something that is said enough, but I do feel like there's room for it. I think that we can, for sure, as artists, work on tools and have more conversation about resiliency. Because like you just said, we do nonetheless, no matter how much people will consider us, and even if we change the culture a little bit, there's always going to be the detractor. There's always going to be a downfall. And is that one simple answer? No. So be wary if somebody says like, well, all we need to do is this. No, man, think about it. Like if we need to become more resilient, then one of those things is we need to become more intelligent in certain areas, right? As artists, we do need to plan out like, okay, what is the plan to get me to be able to make art as much as I feel like I need to, and balance that with how much I need to eat or how much my roof costs. Those things are all right now. This is again for people who are not on the inside of this right now. For the most part, those are all, everything that occupies those spaces in that knowledge base. They're just theories. They're just people throwing out theories about this is how an artist should do it, and this is what and everything's about like digital streaming services and the war on all those kind of things. But the reality is we are much better getting advice from like a financial literacy person. That's where you should start, and then you can apply those things to your pursuit as an artist, because you're going to need it. You're going to need those tools one way or another. Eventually you will get to it. And you're going to need that. You're going to get to the point where you're going to need to know actually how to flip this thing that you've dedicated your life at getting so good at being, in hopes of one day being able to live just doing that. What happens a lot of times is a lot of artists do get good enough to be able to do it all the time. They're vocally trained, they're musically trained, they're performance trained. But the one part they forgot to do is becoming like financially literate or business savvy are the different parts that are not necessarily always seen as the creative. I think they are creative, though. I think a lot of the best people that do those jobs are supremely creative, especially in the business and tech worlds. And there's tons of creative people there. Their brains just work a little different at the way they see the goal, where a lot of the times the more pure artist, or at least that's how they're seen. I don't believe that either. It seems like there's a majority of artists that tend to lean completely towards feeling and emotion. And because of that, a lot of the times they will leave out like the whole knowledge base of like the part that doesn't involve emotion, you know, the business part, the part where you should be as logical as possible. You should see the trends. You shouldn't, you know, flip off the trends. If you're the crazy artist, that's the part that's, again, it's tough to manage those things. If your brain is like, yo, forget the system, you know, fuck labels, all that kind of stuff. I get it, yeah. But now now you're the label. Now you're supposed to do all the things that the label was going to do. So is it still fuck the label if you're the label? Like, there has to be a balance. That's the problem. A lot of times the most extreme sides of this get listened to. And that has led to some like really staggering things, I think, in my opinion. I decided to search like suicide rates by occupation. And this is by the CDC, right? You can't really trust them, but you know what I mean. They probably at least did the stats right. But there it is, right there. The arts, entertainment, sports, media major occupation group had the highest among females in 2012. That's like 11.7, I think, per 100,000 or something like that, which is high. But for as far as like a pursuit as a job, the arts is right up there. And I don't think that it should be a mystery. People are always like, why do artists, I don't understand why artists always take their lives. Like, you don't? If you look at it through the lens of like, maybe this is the only thing, again, the thing that they're creating, the reason it's so good is because they put everything into it because it's the only thing that they feel is like keeping them alive. That's not like a healthy way to live, you know? That isn't something that you can maintain over a long period of time without learning to balance it in some way. So if you just look at it like that, yeah, man, and they have sports in there, same thing, that pursuit of this greatness, of this thing, of these tiny little tweaks. Perfecting a song, to me at least, is a combination of these tiny little tweaks that go and go like forever, like these tiny little changes or adaptations until the song just kind of feels like it fits in a perfect place. And then you get a response from the crowd that proves that. Man, that can take forever sometimes. And there isn't a lot of different like ways you can like test it. You know, there's not like a lot of different ways that you can go to other people and go like, hey, look at my thing. You know, are you going through the same thing when their thing is something completely different? That is one thing that's a little different than it is in sports. Yeah, doggy duty. But yeah, I found that really interesting that it is at the top. It is one of those things that's really at the top. People in the arts. The suicide rate is very high. And then in Psychology Today, look at the suicidal artists. Why do so many artists die by suicide? I saw this interesting stat in here. Okay, it says, alongside this duality, there's a danger. Oh, wait, hold up. Let's see. On the one hand, there's an idea that art making is a sign of positive mental health. Art makes us well, right? People look to it for inspiration. People look to it for hope, right? But on the other side, there's the idea that art making might not be a sign of mental health at all. In fact, artists, according to one recent study, are now considered to be 25% more likely to carry genes of mental illness. 25% is a lot. 25% is a lot. That is a lot. And artists can become dependent on, this is the thing. Okay, so artists can become dependent on the antisocial practice of art making. Man, that is a real thing. Again, trying to get good at something puts you in your head by yourself a lot. And some can argue like, hey, that's what it takes. True, but also understand the result of that is normally an inability to completely connect with other people, other minds, because you're only in yours. So you live in this vacuum almost of this pursuit of just getting better at the thing that you're doing. And then when it is time, when life does hit you and stress hits you and you need to like communicate and do what, again, other people are doing, maybe, people who might be more balanced in that area, they might just go, hey, person next to me, hey, I'm not feeling well. I'm having these thoughts, or I don't like how I feel about this thing, or I'm worried, or I'm scared. Whereas the artist has only learned how to communicate through the thing that they're doing. And when it's time to actually communicate with other people, sometimes they're not able to do that. It can become a dangerous surrogate to addiction, one that can lead to burnout and social and suicidal ideation. Man. And I can tell you guys, I've written about it. I'll post some of the links. You can go to theinvisiblepanchos.com. I posted it on there somewhere in that blog. But I've dealt with it myself. All this is very true. Let's see, to my knowledge, there is no data on the number of artists who have killed themselves after being cured. Oh, so they discuss this thing. It says, alongside this duality, there's a danger that an artist undergoes therapy or finds the right medication, then becoming mentally healthy might destroy their ability to make art. I butchered that, but what they're saying is, and I've heard this so many times. Like if I have a artist friend and I'll tell him, hey, like you should go see a psychologist, man. Like you need to talk to somebody, like it could help you or whatever. And I think one of the things that they'll do, or one of the answers I hear the most is like, nah, man, like that's where most of my art comes from. And so like, again, I'm not saying how you think about that is up to you, but do understand the repercussions to the thinking. If you are like, I am not even willing to seek help in an area if it is possibly going to change the way I create the thing that I do the best, all the way till I die. And people would then feel like, yo, if I get cured of the thing that makes this crazy art that I do, this thing that it's so hard for me to do, if I get cured of that, then what do I have? Then I really will kill myself. So that's a real thing in the artist community. I unfortunately know people who have said things like that. The writer David Foster Wallace, who I'm a big fan of, or fan, I don't know if you could say fan. I've taken in a lot of his writings. He believed that. And then he ultimately killed himself. So what is it? I wonder, like, what the world is willing to, like, how much of the art are you willing to sacrifice before it's just gone, before it's just not around anymore for you to be able to take advantage of it. I just think that there has to be something more or less that has to be done about just that gap of understanding, especially with like the fans, you know. I feel like the fans, all the fans that I meet, I mean, they're amazing people, you know, and supporters. But I do feel like, you know, maybe it's the artist's job too. I don't know, man. I just feel like that communication isn't really there, because if it was, we'd be taking care of our artists a lot better, because a lot of them need that. They need like that extra, because the thing that they're doing is really hard for them to do. And if you like it, then maybe the way you've been showing your love isn't always the way. Maybe there's a new way you can think of doing it. And it makes them feel more secure in the thing that they're doing. Maybe it's not skipping saying, hey man, you did a pretty good show, if you watched their whole show and you enjoyed it and you had fun because you saw the show. I know it's real easy to go like, they probably hear that all the time. Man, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised and how much it means to the artist. So maybe you could just start there. But rest in peace to Vision. Condolences to his family, his loved ones, his girl. She was a big part of the community as well. Look out for, I'm sure, I know Thought Fest is going to be doing some fundraising stuff for the family and friends, and just to make sure, you know, everybody's good, as good as can be. But I don't know. What does this leave us with? Do you ask yourself, do I love something so much that it could consume my life completely, and then I don't know how to get out of it? Like, I don't know how to escape the love? Is that a possibility? Is that something that could really happen? Maybe. And if that is happening, or maybe you know, then maybe your responsibility as the artist, you know, is to try to get help and try. And for my fellow artists, you know, always look out for that strong artist, you know, the one with the demeanor that seems strong as a brick wall, you know what I mean? Because it might be taking a lot just to put that up as well. And under that, there could be a lot, you know, and some of that could be a lot of pain. So I'm just asking that y'all care about the artist just a little bit more if you can. We're talking about people who really love this thing, you know. If you can tell that they love it, then that should be enough. That should be enough. Just for that little consideration of love. You know. We're not talking about like a talent level. But to artists, a talent is a result of the work you've put in. So hopefully that's something that's real to you too. You got to keep doing your part. So again, you know, rest in peace to Vision. Rest in peace to his family, his friends. Man, really bad loss. And I say that because I also, again, I want to shout out the Happiness Pursuit Festival, and you know, everything they did. It was such an amazing event. Oh man, it was so cool. Let me see if I can bring this up.
Come with us, nah. I'ma split it with my niggas, then we double up. Okay, jealousy, love it,
great night of hip hop.
It's flop movement, try us and die stupid smoking in the blend, cooking salmon and yay. I experiment today from the grammage away.
Apollo Brown killed it. His set was Apollo Brown's set was amazing. That was like some hip hop heaven right there, for sure. Shout out to Speak.
So you can feel this. Long hair brushed down like a pony. Pulling up. You fuckers don't know me. I pull up in that limo like the quinceañera. I'm going super.
I mean, passion, right? Again, what is it taking for them to get that out? It's just something to think about. If you love the art, shout out Elzai. Amazing, but shout out Beans. She had a dope set. The homegirl from the East Coast. But yo, if you've never been to Happiness at Pursuit Festival, man, and you love the culture, please. And for all the Happiness at Pursuit Festival family, shout to all y'all. Man, the amount of love I know I saw all the members of the family get for just putting together this event. The amount of space you guys make for people to share the stage, and like we said, that thing that's coming out of them could be taking all they got, and for Thought Fest to provide a stage for people to let that out, you know, is it needs to be commended and appreciated, and let's make sure it doesn't go away. And so support that as well. Do not put Thought Fest in the category of just another concert, another festival. It is not. It is 100% run by people who love this culture, and they continue to prove that in their actions and in the things that they do, and always trying to be better and serve the artist and the fans. So support Thought Fest. Spread it to your city. If you're from another city, another state, make it a destination. Trust me, you will be welcomed open arms. Amazing event. Salute to Thought Fest and everybody involved in it. Yeah, man. Really, really, really cool. They're 60s.
Asking where the album is, and I just took a flight. Sitting next to Alchemist, toured the West with Joel Ortiz, and I just came home from a tour overseas. They know my name and love me.
Yeah, man. Oh, man, I didn't even see the chat. My bad. Anthony Brito, Anthony. Oh, the Anthonys are in. Brito and Alonzo. Shout out to you guys. But yeah, I'm just recording this live on YouTube because I'm editing a vlog, and I'd rather not edit this one. But yeah, make sure you check out the vlog. Panchos party dropping, I think Wednesday. Wait, no, today's Thursday, I think. Yeah, today's Tuesday. Thursday. And that'll be dope. If it gets done early tomorrow, we'll throw it up for sure. But most likely Thursday. And it's going to be a full recap of La Viva, La Raza Fest. Viva La Raza Fest. Shout out to La Mexicana events. And shout out to Placa. Shout out to everybody involved in that. Bringing the community together. Shout out to the Happiness Pursuit Festival. We're going to put them together. It's going to be a long vlog. People have been wanting longer ones for some reason. I don't know why. But that's dope. And we appreciate it. And we'll keep making those as long as you guys want those. So coming up later this week. Make sure you subscribe. Turn on the alerts. We got new videos every week. And man, just wanted to get on here. You know, send a special message out to our community in particular. You know, love each other. Make sure you guys are there for each other. Make sure you're checking on each other. Everybody takes loss a little different. And I think it's important that we, you know, all be considerate of, you know, what other people are going through. Again, what it takes for them to just get through life. For some people, it's a lot. It takes a lot. And if we just consider that, maybe in your time of need, somebody will consider you. And we can just keep doing that. So, man, we'll see you guys. I might see you in a few days, actually. We got some cool interviews coming up. If you haven't caught the interview portion of Chris Sees the Internet. And we haven't done like a really good reaction. I think I'm going to come on live later in the week. And we're really just going to react to a bunch of stuff on the internet, man. I've been lining up a bunch of videos I want you guys to see. We got aliens. We got wrestling. We got a bunch of stuff in hip hop that I want to talk to you guys about. But that's what we do here. We hang out. It's the community. We get down. But we'll see you guys next time. Again, on the vlog, we're trying to tag. If you see yourself in the vlog, you're about to see. If you were at any of the shows, you're about to see yourself, because there was a bunch of people in there. If you see yourself in the vlog, reach out to us, shout out to us. We'll send you some stickers. We'll send you something. Maybe you'll come on the show and go, yeah, that was me, and we'll be like, salute, and then we'll be like, tie. So do that. Let us know. Tag yourself in the video when the vlog comes out. And we'll see you guys next time. I cannot leave without playing some Gene Flow. Big shout out to Gene Flow, by the way. Let me say that first of all. I didn't even say it because mostly you're going to see it in the vlog. It's a big part of the vlog. But I think Gene Flow had a night to remember for sure. Shout out to him and DJ Essa for holding the entire main stage down all day with music and beats. They had people freestyling. Gene Flow, main stage debut at the Happiness of Pursuit Festival. Playing tons of his music all day. We got to hear it on those big speakers. A bunch of famous rappers rapping over his stuff. You'll see it in the vlog. Amazing though. Shout out to Gene Flow. Shout out to 60s. Shout out to Noah James. Break to Your Face family. OG Hip Hop Eddie held it down. Killed it. We're nothing without y'all. But man, you guys will see it in the vlog. You'll see it in the vlog. I don't want to let you guys go, but I'm gonna let you go because I got stuff to do. But we'll see you guys next time. Peace out.